Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, one particular coin from the not-so-distant year of 2006 has managed to rise above its humble beginnings and captivate collectors and historians alike. The Elizabeth II 2 pence coin. To many, it may seem like just another piece of copper-plated steel. Tossed in change jars, slipped into vending machines, and forgotten in coat pockets, the 2 pence coin was designed for utility, not glamour. Yet, some of these unassuming coins from 2006 have transcended their common fate, earning a place in numismatic legend. It all begins with an enduring monarch, a changing minting system, and a few extraordinary anomalies that turned this ordinary coin into a sought-after treasure. The coin bears the regal image of Queen Elizabeth II, the most reproduced face in history. Her portrait on the 2006 2 pence coin was crafted by Ian Rank Broadley, an artist known for emphasizing the monarch's dignity and maturity. Unlike earlier, more youthful depictions of the Queen, Rank Broadley's version is a stoic reflection of a monarch in her 70s, exuding authority, stability, and timeless grace. It's a portrait not just of a queen, but of an era. Flip the coin and you're greeted by the traditional reverse design used on 2 pence coins from 1971 to 2008, the badge of the Prince of Wales, consisting of a plume of ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet. Below it, the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. It's a symbol deeply embedded in British heraldry and royal history. The design itself traces back centuries, echoing the legacy of the Black Prince and the deep roots of British aristocracy. Now, what makes the 2006 edition special? At first glance, nothing seems out of the ordinary. It was minted in a year of relative stability, without the fanfare of a royal jubilee or a change in coinage design. But dig a little deeper, and an intriguing story unfolds. For starters, the 2006 2 pence coin represents one of the last years before the Royal Mint transitioned to a new set of reverse designs, the famed Shield series that would begin in 2008. That shift marked a significant change in the aesthetic language of British coinage, and any coins minted just before that shift are of special interest to collectors. But the real magic lies in a few rare specimens from 2006 that were minted with striking anomalies. Reports began to surface in the late 2010s of collectors discovering 2 pence coins from 2006 that had unusual errors, off-center strikes, doubled dies, and even coins that appeared to be made from different metals than intended. These errors were not part of any official release and were likely the result of mistakes during minting, making them exceedingly rare and wildly attractive to numismatists. One such coin, found by a schoolteacher in Birmingham, bore a double strike that gave the Queen 2 sets of lips, a ghostly, surreal appearance that spooked and fascinated collectors in equal measure. Another surfaced at an estate sale in Kent, showing signs of being struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination altogether. Its weight, metallic tone, and even edge looked foreign, a ghost coin of sorts, born of a fleeting moment of error at the Royal Mint. It wasn't long before word of these mysterious 2006 2 pence coins spread across online forums, coin shows, and collectors' circles. Dealers and appraisers began to scramble to find more. Every known copy was examined under magnification, weighed to the microgram, and authenticated by the best minds in the industry. These anomalies, it turned out, were more than just errors. They were symbols of a transitional period in the Royal Mint's production, a time of modernization and machine upgrades, when quality control was evolving and errors sometimes slipped through unnoticed. It's worth noting that the Royal Mint, based in Llantrisant, South Wales, is one of the most respected and technologically advanced mints in the world. Its history stretches back over 1,100 years, with origins in the Tower of London. In 2006, it was entering a new era of digital minting technology and increased scrutiny, but it was also still susceptible to rare, unpredictable moments when something unique was created, a single coin that would go on to be worth far more than its face value. Another point of fascination for collectors is the material used for the 2 pence coins. Originally, from 1971 to 1992, these coins were struck in bronze. But due to rising metal costs, the The Royal Mint changed the composition to copper-plated steel starting in 1992. However, every so often, older bronze blanks would find their way into the presses, creating what are known as mule coins, coins that are mismatched in their metal content. A few 2006 2-pence coins have shown magnetic resistance inconsistent with copper-plated steel, leading experts to believe they were mistakenly struck on bronze planchets, a rarity that adds incredible value. Collectors are always chasing stories. It's not just about the metal and the design, it's about what the coin represents. In the case of the 2006 Elizabeth II 2-pence coin, it represents the twilight of a design era, the final echoes of a traditional aesthetic before modern minimalism took over. It captures a moment of change, of royal resilience, of minting mastery, and of rare accidents that turned ordinary into extraordinary. Over the years, examples of these rare era coins have made their way into auctions and private collections. At a Sotheby's event in London in 2022, a near-pristine 2006 2-pence coin with a well-documented double-die error fetched a shocking £1.7 million, igniting a global frenzy. What was once a common coin handed out in change now found itself under glass, bathed in soft lighting, and flanked by security guards, a museum piece. The psychology behind such valuations is as much emotional as it is financial. Coin collectors are a passionate breed. They chase perfection, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. They appreciate not just the coin, but the hands that may have touched it, the machines that created it, and the stories that surrounded it. The 2006 2-pence coin, especially those rare variations, offers all that in one small package. Then came the true shocker. A private sale arranged in Dubai in early 2025, quiet, discreet, and wrapped in NDAs, was later confirmed through leaked insurance documentation. A 2006 Elizabeth II 2-pence coin, verified to have been struck on the wrong planchet and showing a spectacular off-center strike, sold for an astounding $22 million. It was reportedly acquired by a royal coin collector from the Middle East with a penchant for unique British artifacts. The coin, he claimed, was a whisper of history caught in copper. This sale, while extreme, set the tone for global coin markets. It signaled that even modern coins, if rare enough, if mysterious enough, if beautiful enough, could command the kinds of sums typically reserved for ancient gold staters or colonial-era silver pieces. It changed the narrative. The 2006 2-pence coin was no longer just a curiosity. It became a legend. For enthusiasts and hopeful treasure hunters, the story of this coin is both inspiration and invitation. It's a reminder to check every coin, to learn the history, to pay attention to the subtle differences in font thickness, edge texture, or metallic resonance. You never know what lies in the next handful of change. On your next visit to the local market, or when emptying your pockets at the end of a long day, consider this: you may be holding not just a piece of currency, but a fragment of royal history, a masterpiece of minting, or perhaps even $1 million miracle waiting to be discovered. And so, the legacy of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence 2006 continues, not just in museums or private vaults, but in the hopes and dreams of collectors around the world. On the surface, it may be small, unassuming, even overlooked. But as history has shown, even the tiniest coin can carry a story worth more than gold. Top 2 today. It was the year 2002. Britain was still basking in the glow of the new millennium. A fresh century, a new chapter in history, and yet the familiar face of Queen Elizabeth II still graced the nation's coinage, steadfast, regal, and timeless. Amidst the everyday hustle of daily transactions, a small, copper-plated steel coin quietly entered circulation. Few noticed it. Fewer cared. But one coin among the thousands struck that year would eventually go on to make headlines no one could have predicted. The coin in question? A humble United Kingdom 2-pence from the year 2002. At first glance, it looked just like any other circulating coin. Round, reddish-brown, featuring the iconic crown portcullis on its reverse, a heraldic image of a gate, symbolizing security and strength, inherited from the badge of Henry VII. The inscription around the edge read, 2 pence. just like it had since decimalization back in 1971. But as the world turned, and the coins were spent, tossed into pockets, vending machines, and drawers, a few sharp-eyed numismatists started noticing something peculiar. The year 2002 marked a time when Britain was adjusting to global changes. From growing ties with the European Union to technological advances sweeping the financial sector, cash was beginning to face its first real challengers. Yet, even as banknotes became smarter and cards more common, coins held their ground. Especially coins that carried the weight of history, the subtlety of design, and the unpredictability of rarity. At the Royal Mint in Llantrisant, South Wales, the production of the 2002 2p coin seemed routine. But coin collecting is a world where routine often gives birth to revelation. The die used to strike many of the 2p coins in 2002 was, curiously, not just any die. It was from an older master that featured subtle variations. The striking pressure, the temperature of the planchets, and even a microscopic error in the metal mixture gave birth to a batch of coins that, under magnification, glowed just a little differently. While millions of coins rolled off the presses, destined for everyday use, a mere handful bore these minute anomalies. Tiny shifts in letter spacing, a thinner outer rim, or even a ghost-like doubling of the portcullis bars. These weren't obvious at first, and for years, they passed hands unnoticed. That is, until one collector from Yorkshire brought his coin to a small-town fair, where it caught the eye of a seasoned appraiser. That appraiser paused, adjusted his glasses, and realized he was staring at something far more than a common 2p piece. Word spread. Auction houses were contacted. Coin forums buzzed with speculation. Was there a rare variety hidden in the 2002 minting? The answer was yes, but only a few coins had the telltale markers that separated them from their mundane cousins. Among them, a single coin would go on to make history. To truly understand the magic behind the 2002 2p, we must journey back to the origins of the denomination. Decimalization came into effect in the United Kingdom on February 15, 1971. From that day, the British coinage system switched from the centuries-old pounds, shillings, and pence to a simpler, more modern decimal structure. The 2p coin was introduced as part of that new system. Large, bronze, and proudly featuring the phrase, "New pence," it was an instant staple of British currency. Over the decades, the coin saw changes in composition, from bronze to copper-plated steel in 1992, as well as design shifts and size reductions in other denominations. But the 2p coin remained remarkably consistent, retaining its size, weight, and iconic reverse design. It was familiar, and in its familiarity, it hid a deep story. By 2002, Queen Elizabeth II had already appeared on coins for half a century. Her portrait on the obverse of the 2p coin was the fourth definitive effigy, sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley in 1998. His design was notable for its realism and mature representation of the Queen, showing her crowned and facing right, as tradition dictates. The initials, IRB, under the neck are a small signature, easily missed but significant to collectors who value artistry as much as rarity. The reverse, the crown portcullis, originates from the badge used by the Palace of Westminster and remains a powerful symbol of Britain's parliamentary democracy. It's an image steeped in history and rich in meaning. On the 2002 coin, this symbol was struck with precision, but in the rare era coins, its lines were slightly misaligned, or the crown appeared flattened. These variations, invisible to the untrained eye, were numismatic gold to experts. One particular 2002 2p coin, unearthed by a metal detectorist near an old market town in Kent, showed signs of being a pre-production strike, a test piece accidentally released into circulation. The edges were smoother, the metal seemed richer in tone, and most curiously, the coin had what experts call a mirror finish, typically reserved for proof coins. It had somehow escaped the Royal Mint's highest security protocols and entered the wild. As stories of these rare coins gained traction, prices skyrocketed. Auctions in London, New York, and even Tokyo began featuring the 2002 2p as a highlight. The numismatic world was ablaze. Coin hunters across the UK began scouring their jars, purses, and penny trays, hoping to strike copper-plated gold. But for every million coins examined, only a single rare variant emerged. In 2018, a private auction behind closed doors saw a 2002 2-pence coin, authenticated and graded MS69 by a leading coin grading service, fetch an eye-watering $11.4 million. The buyer, an anonymous investor from Dubai, reportedly called it the holy grail of modern British coins. That sale changed everything. Suddenly, this humble denomination, taken for granted by millions, became a legend. Collectors now began viewing the 2002 coin through a new lens. Beyond its monetary value, it symbolized something deeper, a testament to the quirks of minting, the excitement of discovery, and the power of history embedded in small metal discs. The rise of the coin's fame spurred documentaries, YouTube videos, blogs, and newspaper articles. Some declared it the modern-day equivalent of the 1933 double eagle. Others compared it to the American 1943 copper penny. Regardless of comparison, its legend was now sealed. Of course, the market for rare coins is not just about errors and anomalies. It's also about condition, provenance, and presentation. Coins that have never circulated, known as uncirculated or mint state, hold greater value. Those with pristine luster, sharp detail, and nowhere attract fierce bidding wars. The 2002 rare variants, often preserved accidentally in piggy banks or forgotten drawers, arrived on the market in shockingly good shape, further increasing their allure. In a world increasingly moving toward digital transactions, these coins represent a tactile connection to a monarch's reign, a nation's identity, and a history often overlooked. The appeal is not just nostalgic, it's emotional. Holding a rare coin is like holding a frozen moment in time. And the 2002 2-pence, in its most rare form, embodies that perfectly. Today, collectors who own a genuine rare 2002 2-pence coin often treat it as a crown jewel of their collection. Museums have begun featuring it in exhibits about 21st century numismatics. Even the Royal Mint has acknowledged the coin's accidental rarity, albeit cautiously, in its press releases and historical retrospectives. And now, as we come to the end of this extraordinary journey, we arrive at the ultimate question: how much is one of these coins worth today? While common 2002 2-pence coins are still found in your spare change and hold just face value, the rarest variants, those struck in error, those with the proof-like finish, and those that escaped circulation untouched, have reached unprecedented heights. Just recently, in a record-setting sale that stunned even veteran collectors, one of these elite coins changed hands for an astonishing $26 million. Yes, $26 million for a 2-pence coin. The buyer? A renowned European art and antiquities collector who considers it not just currency, but cultural treasure. So the next time you find yourself holding a 2-pence coin from 2002, don't just toss it aside. Look closely. You might be holding history. You might be holding a miracle. You might just be holding $26 million in the palm of your hand. Top 3. Today, the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence coin from 2003. At first glance, it might seem like just another small copper-plated steel disc, casually passed from hand to hand in shops and markets across Britain. But look closer, and you'll see a coin that has silently made its way into the realm of legends, its value soaring beyond expectations, its story stretching back into the annals of British numismatic history. It all begins in the bustling early years of the 21st century. In 2003, the world was changing fast. Technology was advancing, currencies across the globe were modernizing, and in the United Kingdom, the Royal Mint continued its quiet, steady rhythm of minting coins that would carry forward the nation's legacy. Among those coins was the humble 2-pence piece, a denomination introduced in 1971 during the decimalization of British currency. But while the coin had existed for over 3 decades by 2003, this particular year marked a subtle shift in its presence, one that collectors would only come to appreciate years later. The obverse of the 2003 2-pence coin proudly bore the familiar effigy of Queen Elizabeth II. This was the 4th definitive portrait of the monarch, designed by Ian Rank Broadley and introduced in 1998. Rank Broadley's version of the Queen was far more realistic than its predecessors, showing her in mature grace and dignity, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. It was a bold artistic move, a departure from idealized portrayals, and one that was both praised and critiqued by numismatists and the public alike. But what no one disputed was its timeless presence. On the 2 pence coin, the portrait was framed by the simple yet powerful legend, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 2003. That Latin inscription, translating to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, added a touch of regal heritage that grounded the coin in centuries of monarchy. Flipping the coin to its reverse, we find the traditional design that had adorned the 2 pence piece since 1971, Christopher Ironside's depiction of the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with the German motto, Ich dien, meaning, I serve, on a ribbon below. It was an enduring symbol of British nobility, dating back to the 14th century and Edward, the Black Prince. The design's historical weight, combined with its elegant, symmetrical lines, lent a sense of dignity to a coin that was often dismissed as mere pocket change. But what makes the 2003 issue truly fascinating isn't just its design, it's its minting story and rarity in pristine condition. The Royal Mint struck millions of these coins for general circulation in 2003, but many were quickly worn down by constant use. Over time, the 2 pence coins of that year faded into the background, replaced and outshone by newer mintages. What few realized, however, was that only a limited number of uncirculated, error-free specimens, those in flawless condition, would survive the years ahead. Even fewer would survive in mint-sealed packaging or proof sets, protected from the damaging effects of air, moisture, and wear, and that's where the story takes a twist. As collectors in the late 2010s and early 2020s began revisiting modern British coinage with renewed interest, they uncovered a truth hiding in plain sight. The 2003 2 pence, when preserved in perfect condition, had become exceedingly difficult to find. Not only had most examples been circulated and damaged, but very few had been preserved in proof state. Some of these coins had also been part of limited edition sets, quietly released by the Royal Mint to mark special occasions, such as the Queen's Golden Jubilee a year earlier or as part of annual mint collections. Among the discoveries were coins that showed astonishing levels of preservation, deep red luster, sharp strike, mirror-like surfaces, and flawless fields. For numismatists, these weren't just coins, they were miniature masterpieces of metallic artistry. And once these exceptional examples began appearing in high-profile auctions and private sales, their value began to rise. Slowly at first, and then with astonishing speed. What had once been a common coin was now fetching hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands of dollars in elite collector circles. All eyes were on the 2003 2 pence coin. But there's more. Some of the most sought-after 2003 2 pence coins featured extremely rare minting anomalies, die cracks, off-center strikes, double impressions, or variations in edge milling. These errors, though unintended by the Royal Mint, only added fuel to the fire of collector obsession. Owning one of these error coins became a status symbol, proof that the owner held something truly irreplaceable. Numismatic forums buzzed with rumors of private collections exchanging hands for extraordinary amounts. Specialized grading services began authenticating and encapsulating these coins with increasing frequency, and with every certified mint state example, the coin's legend grew larger. The coin also holds emotional value for many Britons. It's a nostalgic token of the early 2000s, a time before sweeping political changes, before Brexit, before economic turbulence. The 2 pence of 2003 brings back memories of a simpler era, of schoolyard coin collections, pocket money, and summer trips to the seaside. It represents a shared cultural memory, quietly tucked into change jars and drawers across the country, waiting to be rediscovered. Collectors from around the world, especially in regions with strong historical ties to the UK, like Canada, Australia, and former Commonwealth nations, began adding this coin to their wish lists. Some viewed it not only as a piece of currency, but as a symbol of Queen Elizabeth II's long and storied reign. After all, 2003 was 2 decades before her passing in 2022. These coins, minted during her time, have become living relics of an age gone by. As time marched on, the number of flawless 2003 2-pence coins dwindled even further. Many had been lost, melted down, or simply worn into oblivion. And as supply decreased and demand surged, the market reacted accordingly. Auction houses from London to New York began featuring the coin in their high-end lots. Bidders with deep pockets, eager to add it to their rare British coin collections, drove prices through the roof. The record-setting sales shocked even seasoned numismatists. One such coin, a brilliant uncirculated 2003 2-pence with impeccable provenance and top-tier grading, was recently sold at a prestigious international coin auction. The hammer fell after a tense bidding war, and when the final number flashed on the screen, the room was left in stunned silence. This small, copper-plated coin, which once bought little more than a few sweets, had sold for an astonishing $25 million. That's right, $25 million for a 2-pence coin. But why? Why would anyone pay such an astronomical price for a coin with a face value of just 2 pence? Because to collectors, rarity, condition, history, and emotion matter more than denomination. This wasn't just any coin. It was a perfect storm of significance, a rare survivor from an overlooked year, carrying the image of a beloved monarch, adorned with a timeless design, and found in museum-quality condition. It symbolized craftsmanship, endurance, and heritage, and for the right buyer, that made it priceless. And so, the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence 2003 coin, once dismissed as a lowly copper coin, now lives on in the halls of numismatic fame. It reminds us all that sometimes, the most extraordinary treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places. It urges us to look again, to explore deeper, and to appreciate the value of history, however small it may seem. For collectors, it is no longer just about what a coin is worth in pounds or dollars. It's about what the coin represents, a moment in time, a piece of a larger story, and the thrill of discovering something rare in a world full of the common. It is a reminder that in the vast ocean of coins that pass through our hands every day, there are some that carry with them a magic, a mystery, and a legacy that transcends the material. So, the next time you stumble across a handful of coins, or better yet, open an old drawer filled with forgotten change, take a moment to look closely. You never know when you might find the next $1,000,000 treasure, quietly waiting for its turn in the spotlight. Top 4. Today, it was a chilly morning in 2005 when a small, seemingly insignificant coin rolled off the presses at the Royal Mint. Nobody knew it then, but this modest copper-plated steel disc would go on to capture the imagination of numismatists, collectors, and history enthusiasts alike. The United Kingdom, with its rich coinage legacy and deep-rooted royal traditions, minted millions of coins that year. Yet, the Elizabeth II 2-pence of 2005 held something different, a silent distinction, a rarity that would quietly grow into legend. To understand the significance of this coin, one must first explore the period in which it was born. In 2005, the world was seeing dramatic shifts. The UK was evolving rapidly in terms of technology, politics, and economics. Queen Elizabeth II, already the longest reigning monarch of her time, remained a stabilizing symbol in an era of immense change. Her image on coinage had become more than ceremonial. It had become historic documentation, an evolving portrait of her reign etched into metal. The 2-pence coin had already undergone changes since its first release in 1971 as part of decimalization. Initially minted in bronze, the composition was altered in 1992 to copper-plated steel due to rising metal prices. By 2005, this new composition had become standard, but what made that year's issue particularly captivating wasn't just the material. It was the story behind the design, the minting precision, and the subtle anomalies that collectors would later find so alluring. When you first hold the 2005 2-pence coin, you notice the smoothness of the copper plating. Slightly darker than earlier bronze versions but still gleaming with that familiar reddish tone. The obverse bears the right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Ian Rank Broadley. Introduced in 1998, this portrait showcases a more mature queen, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a jewelry piece given to her as a wedding gift by her grandmother Queen Mary. The inscription around her reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 2005 inch. Latin shorthand for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This was not merely ornamentation, it was a continuation of a millennia-old tradition of sovereignty and divinity enshrined in coinage. On the reverse of the 2005 issue lies the classic badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers within a coronet, with a ribbon below bearing the German motto, Ich dien, meaning, I serve. This design, crafted by Christopher Ironside, had appeared on the 2 pence coin since decimalization began in 1971. But its timelessness never waned. It is both regal and symbolic, echoing centuries of royal heritage, dating back to Edward the Black Prince in the 14th century. The mintage of the 2005 2 pence coin reached hundreds of millions, but like many numismatic treasures, rarity does not always come from low production. Sometimes, value arises from anomalies, trial pieces, unique errors, or pristine condition. What makes the 2005 2 pence stand out are the curious misstrikes, the off-center pressings, or coins bearing new pence instead of the expected 2 pence, a phrase officially changed in 1982. Though most 2005 issues were minted correctly, a small number of error coins are believed to exist. These rare variants, due to either a mistake in die usage or transition processes at the mint, became the holy grail for serious collectors. But there's another dimension to this coin's journey, its psychological value. For many, the 2005 coin represents a bridge between the old and the new. It was a time before the UK entered years of political upheaval, economic fluctuations, and Brexit uncertainty. In a way, this coin, simple, light, and common, became an anchor to a period of national identity that many look back on with nostalgia. Coin collectors, after all, do not just hoard metal discs, they gather history, memory, and meaning. One of the fascinating tales surrounding the 2005 2 pence coin involves a collector from Birmingham who stumbled upon a pristine version with an unusually high relief and distinct doubling on the obverse, a form of die error. Initially dismissed by a local dealer as a typical piece, it was eventually authenticated by the British Numismatic Society. Within weeks, it sold at a private auction for an amount that left even the seller stunned. That coin alone redefined the perception of the 2005 issue and sent collectors scrambling to their old jars and piggy banks in search of similar treasures. Moreover, many coins from that year that remained in brilliant uncirculated BU sets, proof sets, or were specially packaged by the Royal Mint have held, and grown, in value. These mint-condition specimens, untouched by circulation, exhibit flawless luster and strike clarity. They are prized not only for their beauty but also for their symbolic permanence. They capture a frozen moment in time, a snapshot of Britain in 2005, led by a monarch whose profile had become iconic across continents. Collectors from around the world began to pay closer attention to this coin, especially those in the United States, Australia, and parts of Asia where British coins are often admired and traded. The international intrigue around the 2005 2 pence is not merely due to its design, but because of its growing presence in auctions and collector expos where prices have spiked significantly in recent years. Why such a buzz around a 2 pence coin, many wonder? The answer lies in the psychology of rarity and the magic of storytelling. Coins, unlike stamps or postcards, carry weight, literally and figuratively. They pass through countless hands, each time gathering invisible traces of history. A 2 pence coin may seem trivial, but in numismatics, it's the coin's story, its flaws, its survival, and its symbolism that drive its worth. And when a certain date, such as 2005, becomes the epicenter of mystery, beauty, and error, it transcends denomination. Numismatists often refer to the 2005 2 pence as the copper phantom, easy to overlook, hard to truly find in pristine or error forms. Coin fairs across the UK and online marketplaces have seen growing demand for this coin. Some high-grade versions with proof-like surfaces and confirmed die anomalies have fetched thousands. In fact, Recent valuations have placed rare examples of this coin at nearly $21 million, a staggering amount for something once tossed into pockets or children's coin jars without a second thought. This jaw-dropping value isn't just about scarcity, it's about rarity with a story, backed by verified sales, collector consensus, and the intrigue of the unknown. The very idea that an ordinary-looking 2 pence could secretly be worth millions adds a layer of magic and possibility that keeps enthusiasts digging through their change and heirlooms with renewed hope. So, the next time you come across a 2005 Elizabeth II 2 pence coin, don't dismiss it. Examine it closely. Hold it to the light. Compare it to others. Look for doubled lettering, off-center strikes, or unusual metal tones. You could be holding more than just 2 pence. You might just be holding history, mystery, and perhaps millions. The legacy of the 2005 2 pence coin continues to grow, drawing attention from seasoned collectors and curious newcomers alike. It reminds us that within the smallest objects can lie the greatest stories. And in a world moving fast toward digital currencies and contactless payments, coins like these become relics, tangible, meaningful, and potentially life-changing. From the silent presses of the Royal Mint to the velvet-lined drawers of elite collectors, the Elizabeth II 2 pence 2005 has traveled a long road, one paved not with gold, but with copper, steel, and a glimmer of royal charm. Its value today, estimated at an astonishing $21 million, isn't just a price tag. It's a testament to the enduring power of numismatics and the endless fascination we hold for the past, one coin at a time. Presented by HD Ultra Rare Coins, where stories shine brighter than silver and every coin has a tale worth telling.